कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहार विहारकादिविदितं चत्तन्तौ दीनौ त्यजं शङ्खापूर्वकनामगाननतिभिः कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहार विहारकादिविदितं चत्तन्तौ दीनौ त्यजं गोपी भावरसामृता दिलहरी कल्लोलमग्नौ नमो वन्दे रूपसनातन रघुयुगं श्रीजीवगोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन कानन तन परं प्रेमामृताम्बनिधि कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome to the Saturday morning reading and discussion of Bhagavad Gita as it is from the unedited, unchanged version of these amazing scriptures that were produced by Srila Prabhupada for the benefit of humanity. And we want to thank all of you for attending the program. It's very much appreciated. The Association of Devotees is a very great gift for the conditioned souls. And it is highly recommended as part of the process of making advancement in spiritual life, sadhu sangha. And unfortunately, after the demise of the mission, in a sense, or the institution after Prabhupada's departure, a lot of us have felt abandoned by the process, and now we have a chance to reorganize and redevelop our relationship with other devotees and stay fixed on the path back home, back to Godhead. And before you know it, like today, there's Saturday morning. How fast does Saturday come? Before you know it, it's Saturday. Every week is Saturday, Bhagavad Gita class. Time moves on very quickly. And we're using our time in these programs. We have 4.5 hours a week to broadcast, and we're planning to redirect some of the broadcasts to topics that you might be interested in. So if you have any topics that you want to hear discussed in these classes and discussions, you please send us the list of topics that you're interested in. And we want to review them and see how we can accommodate you in our efforts to enliven our membership with transcendental information from the pure devotee A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our spiritual master. And I wanted to mention that we are planning different programs, and we are always looking for technology people to help us. And if you're interested in being a part of this team, let me know, please, that you want to render service, because service is the most valuable thing you can achieve in this human form of life, is devotional service to the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And this is the path back home, back to Godhead through devotional service. So technology people, if you're interested, please be in touch with us. We do need to enlist more people in this service as we unfold our different programs for preaching using the internet as the vehicle. Like today here in Hamilton, for example. It's extremely cold out, and the snow has been falling, and the number of people on the street is pretty much zero. And if anybody stopped, they wouldn't want to talk because they're too cold. So here we have the transcendental opportunity to reach people through the internet, which is a vehicle that everybody uses, not just us. Everybody's using it. And in this way, we're able to enjoy the transcendental association of each other, and at the same time hear about the glories of Srila Prabhupada and his mission to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. So if you have any topics that you want if you have any topics that you want to have us discuss on air, please send us the list so we can review them and move forward with that and do the necessary research and information otherwise that's necessary to do this. And I'm online right now. I'm going to tell my friend, thank you. Goodbye. So, sorry, Prabhus.
Go ahead. Call me back, Bobby.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Sorry, guys. Haribol. So the other thing is, we do need people for research and development. This is also very important. Like, for example, we want to have some information on the different Dhams. Dwarka Dham, Vrindavan Dham, Jagannath Puri, Navadvip Dham. Now, you could do some research and development for us. In one of our projects, we want to give that information, that background information to other people. So if you want to be a part of research and development, you can go online, search out things, and then send them over, and we can review them. Our senior editor, Yashodanandana Prabhu, who's an expert on so many levels of spiritual philosophy, can review them, and then it'll help us. So that's another service that you could consider to be a part of. And let me see what else. I've got my notes here. I have a problem. I can't read my writing sometimes. I jot things down for us. But for all of these programs, we do need help. Now, I have an interesting comment from our godbrother, Bhakta Singh from Oroville, California. And he's also working, he has a center there, and we're going to be setting that up as a depot for distribution of different items from our from a headquarters there, where we'll be storing different things like books, etc., for all of you to receive. And that'll be a center. And if anybody's interested in being a member of that ashram, he's looking for people to join. There's space there, and there's an opportunity to render service at a center there that where we'll house books and distribute them globally through that group of people. So he's also doing that. And he also said to me, I was in touch with him, he said, he responded, oh, well, I don't have time to be a part of this technology team. Okay, fair enough. But he said, but I'm willing to donate some money to help recruit people to be a part of this team. So if you're interested in, if you can't physically participate, if you want to donate some Lakshmi to the Hare Krishna Society in Twain Hart, then that money will be used specifically for spreading Krishna consciousness through our technology department. We had another person reach out to me, very sincere devotee, because we have a budget of different equipment that we're going to need for the programs, computers and servers and software and this. And he's already given an indication that he's interested in donating to provide the equipment so that we can move forward with the program. So like that, we really very much appreciate these people coming forward on their own to help us propagate Krishna consciousness through these different methods that we're developing for pleasing Srila Prabhupada. And remember this, everyone, and you know that, how we've been speaking about it. Most important thing is become the servant of the servant of the servant of Srila Prabhupada. In this way, you'll become great. It's very difficult to achieve advanced stages of devotional service, like neutrality, servitorship, parental humor, friendship, or conjugal love. I'm reading that in the Nectar of Devotion. It's an extraordinary book, by the way. Extraordinary, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to read it. But one thing we know for sure, Mother Rochisha, one thing we know for sure, you can be a servant of Srila Prabhupada in this lifetime where you still have an opportunity. And that is the highest position in the universe, to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the pure devotee of Krishna, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the greatest preacher in the history, for us, in the history of the world. Especially because we have all these different tools that we can employ in serving Prabhupada's mission and helping save the conditioned souls who are rotting here in complete confusion in this Kali Yuga. Yes, they are. Here in America and Canada, the political situation is just chaotic, and it's unfortunate. But this is not our topic. Our topic is not politics. Our topics is Srila Prabhupada's teachings to all of us that we are the eternal servants of Krishna. Jivara Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nichidasa. Get this in your mind, have it tattooed in your brain. This is who we are. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So, if you have any questions, please be in touch. Don't be shy. Prabhupada told me that. We were in Detroit in 1971, and I was down there. They were looking for volunteers to clean Prabhupada's quarters. So I volunteered. Back then, I was the temple commander. I served as the chief bathroom cleaner. I was known for that. Geez, he cleans the bathroom really well. So I was appointed to clean Prabhupada's bathroom in his quarters when he came to Detroit. And in return, I was given a chance to be in the darshan with Srila Prabhupada for all the big devotees. I was a small devotee, Bhakta Bob. I still am. But at the same time, I had the chance to be in the darshan. And Prabhupada was sitting there behind his table, and they brought in a big platter of prasadam, Nilesh. Just in the crowd there, and Mr. Nobody. And Prabhupada took some prasadam off the platter, and then he gestured to everybody in the room, here, have some prasadam. And nobody moved. We just sat there like, that was the last thing I was going to do, was get up and do anything. And then Prabhupada looked at us and he said, never be shy when doing business or taking prasadam. Never be shy. So the point is, never be shy in terms of your anxious quality of service. Step up, speak out, tell us you want to surrender and serve our spiritual master, and then show it by your actions. And this will enable us to make advancement and get realization. Jnanam, vijnanam. Lots of talk. No action. We've been around that boat many years, 55. People talk, but they do nothing. Well, it doesn't, it's self-revealing to everybody. The more you do, the more you'll make advancement. And you're not surrendering to us. You're surrendering your time, your energy to the service of Srila Prabhupada. And Krishna is aware of everything. Krishna is Paramatma in the heart. He is aware. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So enough of that. We're going to go to the diaries here and read a section. I hope we have it, Rupa Goswami Prabhu. I sent it over to him. This is a summary of the early days at the 26th 2nd Avenue Center. Srila Prabhupada lived at 26th. Okay, that's the wrong slide. Srila Prabhupada lived at the 26th 2nd Avenue from July 66. Let's hope we can get that. Yeah, I sent you two. Go to the top and then slide up, and then it's in 3 sections. From July 1966 to January 67, during that time he transformed the storefront into the first Krishna conscious temple in the West, attracted a number of young followers, incorporated the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and initiated 19 students. From these modest beginnings, the Hare Krishna movement spread throughout the world. One of Srila Prabhupada's first initiates in New York, Mukunda Das, went to San Francisco in early 1967. He invited Srila Prabhupada to bring the message of Krishna consciousness to the throngs of young people gathering in the Haight-Ashbury district. This was a hippie headquarters back on the West Coast. Mukunda Das had located the New York storefront at 26 2nd Avenue for Srila Prabhupada, and now he wrote that he and several others had rented a storefront on Frederick Street in Haight-Ashbury and were converting it into a temple because Srila Prabhupada had come to the West on the order of his spiritual master to preach bhakti yoga devotion to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was prepared to go wherever Krishna led him. In the Prabhupada Leelamrita, a biography of Prabhupada, recounts his departure from 26 2nd Avenue on January 17th. Prabhupada looked at his watch. He put on his tweed winter coat and his hat and shoes, put his right hand in his bead bag, and continued chanting. He walked out of the apartment, down the stairs, through the courtyard, which was now frozen and still, its trees starkly bare, without a single leaf remaining. And he left the storefront behind, although Srila Prabhupada returned several months later. 26 2nd Avenue was no longer his main residence. In Srila Prabhupada's absence, his New York followers maintained the programs, holding Bhagavatam class every morning and Gita classes 3 times a week. That's what we have, 3 classes a week. The transcendental sound of chanting continued to attract young people, just as Srila Prabhupada said it would. By 1968, the storefront at 26 2nd Avenue could no longer accommodate the growing number of devotees who had joined. The landlord, Mr. Chatty, had respected Srila Prabhupada and tolerated the rousing kirtans and the comings and goings of young people while Srila Prabhupada was present. But without Prabhupada's presence to smooth out relations, Mr. Chatty, sounds like chutney, became less cooperative. When the lease expired, Mr. Chatty abruptly raised the rent. The devotees began researching for a new location. After several months, they found a place some blocks north at 61 2nd Avenue. In December, Srila Prabhupada wrote Brahmananda, the temple president from Los Angeles, "You tried so hard to find a new temple, but Krishna did not approve, so there is no temple. Was no temple, but now Krishna wills it. Simply a flick of the eye, a temple has come, better than we were hoping for. The new facility was large enough for 15 to 20 devotees to live there, besides providing ample space for temple programs." Amazing, eh? Just amazing. And we were a part of that expansion. We all experienced it. In the early days, that's what all the temples were, really houses that were rented, and people were moving in and taking up the service without any salary. After the devotees vacated 26 2nd Avenue at the end of December 1968, it became a second-hand furniture shop. By this time, devotees had opened centers in San Francisco, Montreal, Los Angeles, Boston, Buffalo, shut down by Keith M., and Santa Fe. And on Srila Prabhupada's instructions were intent on extending the Hare Krishna movement to England, Europe, and beyond 26 2nd Avenue, and had no part to play in their plans. Brahmananda Das says, in 1970, when we moved to Brooklyn to the Henry Street Temple, we forgot about 2nd Avenue. I went there actually in 1970 before I joined the movement. Still remember, the first devotee I spoke to was J. Israel. He sat down with me at the Sunday feast. And J. Israel is the current notorious Jayadvaita. Bowden Portoco purchased the 26 2nd Avenue buildings from Mr. Chutney in 1973, and the storefront was converted into a storage place and remained as such for 12 years. However, in its derelict state, the storefront became an honored place. New York devotees would drive visitors by 26 2nd Avenue to point out the old temple. And Nestor Portoco, who took over management of 26 2nd Avenue from his father, remembers as a teenager in the mid-70s seeing devotees bowing their heads on the sidewalk in front of 26 2nd Avenue. In 1977, Prabhupada passed away and departed, leaving his many followers with a poignant final lesson to love and serve him in separation. Deprived of his presence, devotees sought Srila Prabhupada in his books and lectures, along with the remembrances. Every moment spent in Srila Prabhupada's association became more precious. Each object and place associated with him took on greater significance. So we'll end there with that particular part of the story and know that whatever Srila Prabhupada did, wherever he went, it became a holy place of pilgrimage. And this is the potency of the pure devotee of the Lord, the bona fide spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hari, of the Jaya Radha Madhava Bhajan, and then our reading and discussion led by His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu in the mountains of California. Hare Krishna.
Singh. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This reading is being conducted on the basis of the original 1972 Macmillan edition, the non-interpolated, non-adulterated version. And as Prabhupada used to do in 1966, when he started to lecture on the Bhagavad Gita as it is in New York, he chose a selection of special Sanskrit verses that he was reciting, and we will do the same. It's on page number 1 of the introduction. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasme Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we will be reading from chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita, text number 12. It should be noted that all synonyms, translations, and purports are by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasa jnanam dhyanam vishishyati dhyanat karma phalatyagas tyagas shantiranantaram Shreyaha, better, he, certainly, jnanam, knowledge, abhyasat, by practice, jnanat, better than knowledge, dhyanam, meditation, vishishyate, especially considered, dhyanat, from meditation, karmaphala tyaga, renunciation of the results of fruitive action, tyagat, by such renunciation, shantihi, peace, anantaram, thereafter. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation. And better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action, for by such renunciation one can attain peace of mind. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. As mentioned in the previous verses, there are two kinds of devotional service: the way of regulated principles and the way of full attachment in love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who are actually not able to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge, because by knowledge, one can be able to understand his real position. Gradually, knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. By meditation, one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by a gradual process. There are processes which make one understand that one himself is the Supreme, and that sort of meditation is preferred if one is unable to engage in devotional service. If one is not able to meditate in such a way, then there are prescribed duties as enjoined in the Vedic literature for the Brahmanas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, which we shall find in a later chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But in all cases, one should give up the result or fruits of labor This means to employ the result of karma for some good cause. In summary, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development, and the other process is direct. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the direct method, and the other method involves renouncing the fruits of one's activities. Then one can come to the stage of knowledge, then to the stage of meditation, then to the stage of understanding the supersoul, and then to the stage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One may either take the step-by-step process or the direct path. The direct process is not possible for everyone. Therefore, the indirect process is also good. It is, however, to be understood that the indirect process is not recommended for our Arjuna because he is already at the stage of loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. It is for others who are not at this state. For them, the gradual process of renunciation, knowledge, meditation, and realization of the Supersoul and Brahman should be followed. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is the direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take to the direct method and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dechatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Vadkadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshatah Adadana Srinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimadru Papadam Bhoj Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarabata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Presta Chat Karomi Swam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Recently, a devotee sent me a little YouTube video where Srila Prabhupada was explaining the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srinvatam Svakata Krishnaha Punya Sarvana Kirtana. And Prabhupada was saying, if one hears the Bhagavatam, even if one does not understand the language, he will gradually become pious. If he hears every day, he will become more and more pious, and eventually he'll be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. It's very interesting how Srila Prabhupada interaction with literally dozens of thousands of people during his preaching mission, and only a few thousand people became officially initiated disciples. But what Prabhupada did, his method of preaching was much more than just the physical interaction or the personal interaction with his few disciples. It's quite unique that Srila Prabhupada came at a very specific time. Srila Prabhupada came at a very specific time where modern technology was evolving rapidly with the advent of, here we have the verse right here. Srinvatam svakataha Krishnaha punyasravana kirtanaha ridyantasto yabadrani vidunoti suritsatam. Thank you very much, Neil Shyama Prabhu. Translation, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Prabhupada explains in the purport, messages of the personality of God, Sri Krishna, are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Shikshastaka, declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. So the point here is, I was starting to explain how Srila Prabhupada came at a very specific historical time where modern technology was evolving rapidly in 66, 67 with new electronic methods of recording. Gargamuni Prabhu or Maharaj related a story how he got Prabhupada's first tape recorder, and Prabhupada was very happy to obtain this tape recorder, which enabled him, rather than type his purports, to dictate the purports into a machine, and devotees would be able to take this translation, this recording, and put it on paper. Eventually, they got a Uher tape recorder from Germany, very good quality, to basically use this modern technology so that Prabhupada would go just beyond just a one-on-one typical personal reciprocation in the standard Vedic system. What Prabhupada was doing is using the modern technology to present these teachings to all over the world. It's called the Briyat Mridanga principle. We have all heard the story how Srila Prabhupada would record, and some devotee, some senior member in ISKCON went to Srila Prabhupada and asked him, Prabhupada, can you try to please translate faster? We want to hear more of your purports. And Prabhupada says, you do not understand. These purports are my devotional ecstasies. It is not a matter of speed. On another occasion, one of Srila Prabhupada's BBD trustees went to see Srila Prabhupada discussing the interaction between guru and disciple and discussing why he was insisting so much on distributing his books all over the world. And Prabhupada, this is not recorded anywhere, but we do know Prabhupada has spoken many times about this topic, about physical, personal interaction with the spiritual master. Prabhupada said, This physical association is for fools only. Our whole system is a Vani system of hearing from the Acharya. That is why I am putting so much emphasis on my books. Now, I personally had a discussion with a very senior member of the society in 1981 in Buffalo, New York, where Vishwakarma Prabhu was there, and another devotee from Montreal, the temple president of the temple in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Where the devotee was asking me, well, what are you doing here? You're wasting your time here. You should come back to the temple. Devotees would love to hear your preaching and kirtan. I said, well, that's nice, but I'm also doing kirtan here. I'm preaching. At that time, I had deities of Gaurnitai and Nrsingadev, and that many people were coming, distributing books, Sunday program, and all kinds of things. I said, I don't see a difference between the kirtan there and kirtan here, or preaching there or here. But what I do see is that you're distributing rock and roll records on the streets, and we do know that Prabhupada did not want that. As a matter of fact, there was a letter to Hamsaduta Maharaj where Prabhupada said, do not even distribute my records because people will not understand the philosophy. Distribute my books. So it's very important that to understand why Prabhupada put so much emphasis on his books and his transcendental vibration. Like somebody asked me recently, why did Prabhupada record so many bhajans? Because there's many recording of Srila Prabhupada chanting, and a lot of devotees very appreciate and love these recording of Prabhupada chanting the Mahamantra, the Panchatattva Mahamantra, the Samsara prayers. Personally, I have a habit that I've learned from Bharadwaj very early on in 1969 in Montreal. He told me, he says, well, the first thing I do in the morning is when I get up, pay my obeisance to Prabhupada and start chanting the Samsara prayers. I said, wow, this is a very good idea. So I just followed that same recipe. It's a recipe for transcendental success. You can't go wrong glorifying the pure devotee. Now, this is very important. Now, you can, now with this modern technology, you can go to a website like causelessmercy.com. They got all the bhajans of Srila Prabhupada, so many different versions of chanting the Mahamantra, and get that transcendental benefit. It's quite significant. In the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, in the 4th canto, chapter 20, text number 26, Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 4, chapter 20, text number 26, Prabhupada explains, the Sanskrit is Sauttama Shloka Mahan Mukhachuto Bhagavat Padam Bhoja Suda Kananilaha Smritim Punar Vismrita Tattva Vartmanam Kuyoginam Novitarati Alam Varaihi. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such a glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of pure devotees, of great devotees, carries the aroma of the saffron dust. My dear, I don't know if you got the right verse, 26? Oh, I had a different verse here. Okay, we'll read it. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such a glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. Then Srila Prabhupada explains in a purport It is explained in the previous verse that one has to hear glorification of the Lord from the mouth of a pure devotee. This is further explained here. The transcendental vibration from the mouth of a pure devotee is so powerful that it can revive the living entity's memory of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our material existence, under the influence of illusory Maya, we have almost forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord, exactly like a man sleeping very deeply who forgets his duties. In the Vedas, it is said that every one of us is sleeping under the influence of Maya. Neil Sharma Prabhu corrected me as Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, 20th to 25th verse instead of 26th. Then it's explained here in the purport a little further. A pure devotee in the bottom, a pure devotee always engages in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of his lotus feet, and therefore he has a direct connection with these saffron mercy particles that are strewn over the lotus feet of the Lord. Although when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of this material sky, the voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. As soon as a sleeping living entity hears the powerful voice emanating from the mouth of a pure devotee, he immediately remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord, although up until that moment he had forgotten everything. So this is a very important reminder by Srila Prabhupada about the exalted position of a pure devotee. Now, Prabhupada very nicely explains that when one becomes liberated, there's no difference between a Nitya Siddha and a Sadhana Siddha. But the reality is that in the sadhana practice of devotional service, it's very important to hear submissively. Now, hearing the voice of the pure devotee, reading the original words of the pure devotee, that is the same. Very important. One cannot make a difference saying, I can only hear the tape of Prabhupada singing. Well, that is beautiful, you do that. But hearing and reading, that is the same basic fundamental principle. Very, very important point. Now, we will leave this up. A little bit later, we will be reciting a few verses from the Prabhupada Stotram. We will carry on the program for a little bit, open up discussion, and then we will read the Prabhupada Stotram that I sent to some of you by email earlier. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Very informative explanation of how to learn. And we all have been students in life, most of us, either formally or informally educated. And the secret of to learn is repetition. Because by constantly hearing a subject or focusing on a subject, you begin to understand the message of that subject. And in the same way, the hearing of the transcendental sounds of the spiritual master bring about a transformation in the life of a person, because that is called dynamic. The dynamic sound vibration from the spiritual world. It is a transmission of spiritual transcendental knowledge coming via media, the spiritual master. This is the difference. We have to be able to discriminate between mundane knowledge, mundane learning, and transcendental learning. The principle is the same. It's, for example, playing the bass. If you want to learn to play the bass, how do you do it? You have to practice. They say you have to practice like 10,000 hours, going over the scales, going over the music, and gradually you become familiar how to play. Well, in the same way, the constant hearing of the message of Krishna consciousness from the lips of a pure devotee will wake up the awareness in the student of his or her purpose in life. Yes, because we are more or less, let's see what we got here. Let's read that. Go ahead, Nilesh. Read this.
You're talking about practice, and this is what Krishna
Yeah.
talks about, chapter 6, verse 35 in Sankhya Yoga.
Go ahead.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Astamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena cha griyate. The Blessed Lord said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by constant practice and by detachment.
Yeah, go ahead. Read this.
Perfect. The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind as expressed by Arjuna is accepted by the personality of Godhead. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment, it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe strict rules and regulations, such as placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the supersoul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. This is very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called parishanubhuti, spiritual satisfaction. It is just like feeling the satisfaction of a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for that mad mind, and eating the foodstuffs offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness.
Yes, so the point is this. We're in a state, a comatose state of existence, like bitten by a snake. You go unconscious. So you're bitten by the snake of Maya, illusion. We think we're the body. We think we're a particular citizen of a certain country. I'm an American. This nationalism. This is a great disease for the conditioned soul because it bewilders them. They don't know that they're the spirit soul. They think they're an American. You're not American. You're not Canadian. You're not Indian. You're not Hindu. You're not Muslim. These are all false identifications, like a person that has been bitten and is unconscious. So what is the cure for this state of bewilderment? Is here in this particular verse and purport and throughout our books, you have to constantly hear from the lips of the pure devotee. This will remind us of who we are. Constant repetition of the same thing. Nasta prayeshu abradeshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. By regular attendance in the Srimad Bhagavatam class, all the inauspicious things within the heart become destroyed almost to nil, and thus you surrender. We talked about that, Nilesh. Surrender. And Prabhupada is stressing it here in today's purport, which we'll go to at the end. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is the direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take to the direct method and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Why? Because time is of the essence. We think, oh, we'll live on. I have many people that I know, they think, oh, they were already predicting, I'm going to live 100 years. I have somebody, he thinks he's going to live 700 or 800 years because he refers to others, people that have lived in India. They live for many years, some mystic yogis. But most of us have a lifespan of 100 years or less. This is the Kali Yuga. So we somehow or other avoid surrender. Well, I'll surrender, but first I've got to drive my kids to the store. First I've got to get myself a bigger house. First of all, I have to accumulate more money in my bank account so I can serve. So we have all these plans, but all of a sudden, they could be canceled. Look at what happened, tragically, Yashodanandana Prabhu. You see these pictures of these people that were killed in this. There was an accident in America here in Washington. And it was a group of people, largely young men and women, who were figure skaters. And they were on a plane, and somehow or other there was a mistake made. Whatever the mistake, whatever the conspiracy theory, whatever the explanation that the media give, who cares what the reason was? The fact is, they all died all of a sudden, finished. Nobody thought they would leave. And you see the picture, it's tragic, it's really unfortunate. But this is the nature of the material world. Padam, padam, vipadam, natesham. Everybody is in danger. And by the way, I wanted to give people advice. Be careful how you walk. Be very careful. And especially if you get older, because slip and fall is an easy way to die. Someone say, well, just slip and fall? Yes, you can just slip and fall. And this personifies this verse. There is danger at every step. You can just walk and slip and fall and you hit your head and you're dead. But you thought, well, I'm not going to die. This is the most amazing thing. Your mother has died, your father has died, your sister has died, your friends have died, but you think, not me. I'm aware of it. Like I said, I have people that I speak to on a regular basis, try to work with them, but they're telling me, well, that's not me. I'm going to live forever. Or I've already predicted I'm going to live 100 to 110. Nobody knows what will happen. This is all the illusion of the mind, the disease of the mind. Oh, I'm going to keep my money. I'm going to give it to my relatives. And what are they going to do with it? Squander it, waste it. And the chance that we have to engage in Krishna's service with the facilities that he's provided are squandered. So surrender, Prabhupada's saying here, everyone is advised to take the direct method. This one lifetime, surrender We have to try. Look, we're all struggling to do that. We're all captivated by illusion. But we have to strive by association with our God brothers and sisters to cultivate this knowledge of Krishna consciousness and learn how to surrender and work together to serve the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please, if you could further explain. Microphone, please.
I got it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's a very important point, because a lot of times devotees get absorbed in what I call the rat race in the material world, with jobs and commuting and family and wife, children, responsibility, this, that, business. There are so many entanglements in this world that can be very difficult to focus the mind on Krishna. But depending on the level of seriousness that a person has and understanding that this material world, there is danger at every step. Now, I wanted to use a little bit of time here, it's not going to take very long, to basically discuss this was a conversation I had with Srila Prabhupada in 1977 in May, regarding a prayer, 5 prayers that had been composed by an Indian devotee named Ananta Ram Shastri. He was a great Sanskrit scholar who joined Prabhupada's society. And at Mayapur in March of 1976, before every Bhagavatam class, he was reciting these various 5 of these verses. The original stotram had 23 verses. So I'm going to recite them, and then we'll go from there. Okay, just move it down, move the thing down. Krishna kacheta madamoha vinashakarin madrishti gochara Prabhupada Swamin dosha vidritti paridushita manda buddhe sanchintayami charano tava bhaktiyetu. O Lord, O Prabhupada, may you always be the object of my vision. Only the name of Krishna can destroy my pride and illusion. Although my mind and intelligence are contaminated by wicked inclinations, I nevertheless take shelter of your divine grace by constant meditation upon your lotus feet in causeless devotion. Vrindavane Ramanareti Prasiddha Bhumo Tatrapi Krishna Balarama Supada Mule Jnanam Param Parama Krishna Sudharma Ityuktam Dantastudeva Prabhupada Namo Namaste. In the most holy land of Vrindavana in Ramanreti, at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Balaram, you are preaching the topmost knowledge of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the fountainhead of religion. O Master of the senses, O my Lord, Srila Prabhupada, let me offer my obeisances unto you. Namaste, namaste, Kripa Purna Drishti. Namaste, namaste, Mahananda Dhatri. Namamo namamah punaraksha raksha prasiddha prabhu pahimam daksha daksha. I offer my obeisances unto the spiritual master of the entire world, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, whose glances are full of mercy and who is the bestower of transcendental bliss. O renowned Lord, protect me and kindly shower your compassion on me again and again. Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Shigurave Namaha. Let me offer my obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, who is a disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is always calm and joyful, and who is known by the name of Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srivanga Bhumijana Bhushana Ghora Leela Gauranga Bhava Parisharana Matra Shila Radha Madhava Pada Padma Manovilasinananda Rashi Prabhupada Namo Namaste. The land of Bengal is worshipable by the whole world because Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes there. I offer my obeisances unto my divine master, who is full of bliss. He is always in the ecstasy of Lord Gauranga and is therefore immersed in the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Madhava. Now, in the May of 1977, Srila Prabhupada gave me instruction that devotees should chant these before the Guru Puja in the morning. And by doing that, they will develop very good Guru Sneha. And I asked Srila Prabhupada, what is that? Prabhupada, some Sneha, good affection. So if you arrange later, you can translate them to devotees, they can learn. And I told Prabhupada, I do not know enough Sanskrit to translate properly. So whether you translate or Purja or someone else, just make arrangement later, not now. And you can also chant these slokas with the children. I think the devotees will like it. If you like, you can also make a recording. So this is very interesting because Prabhupada was very much fond of this devotee. This devotee had been requested by Srila Prabhupada to assist him in the translation of his books, especially the complex Sanskrit commentaries of the Acharya. Not that Prabhupada needed any help to translate Sanskrit. He was trying to engage him, but Prabhupada had very good affection for that devotee. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you very much for giving us these insights. Look at those beautiful photographs of Srila Prabhupada in this presentation. And we are so blessed to be in the first stage of Prabhupada's appearance with us. And there's some of us that are still here and able to share these pastimes like yourself, your good self, Yashodanandana Prabhu, and we very much appreciate that. We're going to move forward with our panel. I wanted to call upon our friend, our godbrother in Dallas, Texas, and he could share his comments on today's class. Dharma Bhavana Prabhu.
Trying to unmute. There it is. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you. You have a very interesting class about Srila Prabhupada's books and how we become purified by hearing and chanting. Just reflecting back how in the 1970s, a lot of us were new devotees and we almost never read any outside books. I never even saw one person ever reading different books besides Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita. And but during the 1980s, a lot of us had to start a business or get a job. So we would read some motivational books or salesmanship, things like that. And but I remember hearing not too long back that a few devotees in management position were starting to read things like Machiavelli, Western political philosophers. And somehow or another, just last week, somebody sent me this book in the mail. Dialectical spiritualism, about 500 pages where Prabhupada is commenting upon different Western philosophers who had their own ideas during the Renaissance period or before. And I thought I'd just read some of this because I was kind of shocked that some devotees would be reading Machiavelli. I mean, just now we may ask our questions. How did this whole thing start where our mission started deteriorating in the 1970s and 80s? How did things go so wrong? But here's one example of devotees trying to study Machiavelli. In Hayagriva says, Machiavelli has been called the most influential political philosopher of the Renaissance. In his philosophy of politics, has influenced rulers down to modern times. He is typical of the Renaissance in that he turned from the subjects of the church fathers, such as God, heaven, and salvation, to concentrate on man and nature. The Renaissance marked a decline in the church's power, and philosophy began a process of secularization. Machiavelli himself admitted that his most famous work, The Prince, does not apply to a utopian state composed of good citizens. Rather, it is an unscrupulous philosophy that applies to corrupt citizens. The Prince is a guidebook for a tyrant, and it contains the advice he chose to depart to the ruling Medici family. It is a justification for immoral actions. Power is the ultimate goal, and the quest for power at the end justifies the means. Success in attaining power makes one the object of obedience and respect. Failure is the only sin. And then Srila Prabhupada explains this. So this is politics, the occupation of Kshatriyas. And by the Gita, the quality of Kshatriyas are given. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the qualities that work for the Kshatriyas. Of course, in modern politics, the king or president does not come on the battlefield to exhibit his courage. He simply appears when there is a battle of words. But when there is an actual battle, he remains in a secluded place and lets the citizens fight. So I just thought it kind of interesting how Prabhupada, he knew everything about all these different philosophers. At least he could explain what was their ideas and from a Vedic viewpoint. And if someone was saying, oh, such and such military education is for everybody, Prabhupada would comment, no. He'd say there should be divisions in society. For the Brahmins, a certain education. For Kshatriyas, a different education. Vaishyas, a different education. So Prabhupada was so great that he could explain all these different philosophers and really what the Vedic viewpoint is for all of us to understand. Thank you. Haribol.
Yes, very true. And it's important for us to, just before we carry on with the discussion, to remember this point that Prabhupada taught us not to get involved in political affairs. Like recently, I was speaking to some devotees in Ukraine. And Ukraine is a very troubled country right now, as we all know. And there's a lot of difficulty in survival there. Economic survival, human survival, not being killed. And some people are taking sides in the other group. They're going, oh, well, we support the Russians. And the other group is saying, oh, we support the Ukrainians. Well, this is not our role, is to identify we're Russian, Ukrainian, American, Canadian, rich, poor, like that. These designations keep us on the material platform. We are Prabhupada disciples. We are servants of his mission. And our job, everyone, Dharma Bhavana, is to work cooperatively to demonstrate our love for him. When we step up and ask for people to come forward, we expect them to respond. Why? Because it's a sign they're listening. If they're not listening, what are we doing? So think about that, everyone. We've got Neela Shama in Florida. Nice weather down there, I guess. Prabhu,
Yes,
you have
Hare
your
Krishna.
hand up. Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead.
Very nice discussion which we had today.
Thank you.
And my question is to Yashodanand Prabhu, is
Yeah.
that we have had this, I'd like to share something, is lately we had a lot of controversy on the AI platform, DeepSpeak, you know. It is a new AI platform which is shattering what you call the US industry. It is based out of China. And many a times when I do some research work on Srila Prabhupada, because it gives me a lot of details, I'm asking DeepSeek, the AI platform, about specific quotes about what Srila Prabhupada talks about as far as his books and changing his books are concerned. And so I did a lot of queries with it. So I wrote over here, please quote exactly the date and to whom the letters in 1975 were sent to. And these are the exact dates. Letter to Satsur Das, February 27, 1972. Exact quote. Regarding the editing of my books, you can make grammatical corrections and adjust the English, but do not change the philosophy or the meaning. The philosophy must remain intact. Letter to Hayagriva Das, April 20, 1973. You are carefully edit my books, but do not add or subtract anything from the philosophy. The philosophy must remain as it is. And this one, December 28, 1975. The books are the most important thing. They are permanent foundation of our movement. They must be kept pure and unchanged. Now, when I try to look for these letters in prabhupadbooks.com, I do not find them. And so my only to go to option is to you, Yashodanand Prabhu, is that are you aware of these books? Because obviously AI will not be able to get it unless it was not mentioned at some point somewhere on the internet. But it seems like Prabhupada Books does not have those exact letters dated those specific dates. So my question to you is, what should we take of this?
It's well known that not everything that Prabhupada wrote or spoke has ever been recorded, and it's not everything is available on that website, prabhupadbooks.com. That website also had some revised editions of the books. They have the original Bhagavad Gita, they have some original books, some revised books. At the moment, there's not a single website which has all the first edition original books. Let's just put that issue to rest. As far as those letters which are allegedly missing, I've not looked into that particular, the way that you've researched this. I have the original 5-letter book that was published by Nischintya and Sulochan in 1985. It came in a maroon reddish color set. And subsequent to that, the archives have added many more letters that devotees contributed to the collection of letters. Now, these particular letters, I don't know. I would have to research the issue. If you can send me what you found, send me an email, send me what you found. I'll look into it and see whether or not the Prabhupada Books factually doesn't have that. So that's all I can really say on this issue. If you want to pursue the issue further, what you could do is send an email to Ekanath at the archives in North Carolina, and he will know the answer where these letters really are. That's all I can say at this point.
Yeah, it is interesting is because AI cannot get it unless it is not there in some database or somewhere or the other. And so my question was that if AI could get it, we should be able to procure it too. And in the previous ones, they said that, yeah, you can go to Bhaktivedanta archives. And I went to the archives list and I couldn't find these letters either on their website. So it's interesting to see that.
They may have gotten this information from the Prabhupada folio, the Veda-based folio, which may have, because that folio has got all kinds of things that are also not original. This is becoming a big issue as devotees become more educated of what is an original first edition book or writing of Prabhupada. People are finding, even now, there are some devotees who are saying that some tapes were altered, were edited. So there is just a major issue of authenticity that is surfacing in many, many discussions. The A1, whoever is doing that, must have gotten this information either from the archives or the Prabhupada folio, which is the Prabhupada Veda-based folio, which is produced by the archives. PrabhupadaBooks.com was produced by a devotee named Madhudvisa, and he did some good work, but it's not complete. Not complete.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Nilesh, for bringing that point up today about artificial intelligence. This is the new rage in society. And it is a great threat to the human beings in a way. Because nowadays, people are not, they're becoming lazy. Oh, I just punch it in and I can get the information instantaneously. This Krishna consciousness is a daily practice by the disciple. Disciple means discipline. You discipline yourself. And like Prabhupada said today in the Bhagavad Gita verse, everyone is advised to take to the direct method and surrender. You can ask AI how to surrender, but it can't surrender for you. You have to do it on your own. You have to decide that you're going to be a servant of Krishna's and not a servant of your mind or Maya. So all glories to the Sankirtan movement. And I wanted to just mention, we are looking, just as we wind up our program today, we are looking for people to work with us on our technology department and our programs coming up. And we're looking for people in research and development. We have information, different subjects that we want to gather information on for publications of articles and other projects that we're doing as part of our legacy mission to protect Srila Prabhupada and his message moving forward into the future. So if you have time to sacrifice for this, it'd be a great thing. So thank you, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam class at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Canada and wherever you are. So we look forward to seeing you and having your association. This is the wealth of the renounced order. The wealth is association with like-minded servants of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the bona fide spiritual master and mercy representative of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, and of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hari Nam, led by Srila Prabhupada, and then our winding up of the program. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively reading and discussion. We invite everybody to come back tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock for Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Vijay Pandit in Oroville near Venice, Italy, Pierangelo in Switzerland. I don't know what city you're in, but Hare Krishna. Bhakta Ron Singh in the Oroville, California, Krishna Katha in San Diego. We missed those Srimad Bhagavatam behind your head there. And our good friend Neil Shama Prabhu in Florida. We love that picture of Krishna, original picture of the 1972 Bhagavad Gita. Rochisa Mataji in Montreal, Canada, and everybody participating in his enlivening program. And of course, our good producer, Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Bombay, India, and everybody who participated in this program. Thank you very much. We invite you to come back tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.